Good morning, students. Today's class, I'm going to discuss Smith chart. Okay. So Smith chart is basically a unit circle which consists of two circles. One is normalized resistance circle, second one is normalized reactance circle. Okay, Smith chart is basically superimposition of normalized resistance circle and normalized reactance circle. So these full circles are called as normalized resistance circles, and the half circles are called as normalized reactance circles. Okay, this is Smith chart. So this is for inductive reactance. It indicates inductive reactance, and this indicates capacitive reactance. Okay, so since we are drawing the circles using the normalized resistance and reactance, this Smith chart is also called as normalized Smith chart. Okay, so we should remember some of the important points regarding the Smith chart. So this point is called as POC, nothing but open circuit point. So at this point, what is the impedance? It is infinity plus J infinity. Resistance is infinity and impedance is infinity. Okay, and this point is called as PSC. So for short circuit point, what is the impedance? 0 plus J0. Okay, this is the first point. Coming to the second point, okay. Coming to the second point, the distance between PSC and POC. So to identify that, so take some waveform here. I am taking one sinusoidal waveform. This is of length how much? Lambda by, this is the lambda, right? Wavelength. So this gives half of the wavelength, lambda by 2, and this is going to give the quarter wavelength, lambda by 4. So in this waveform, here if you take it as a voltage waveform, here the voltage is minimum and this is having maximum. So when the voltage is minimum, at the short circuit point the voltage is minimum. Therefore I can take this as a PSC point, and when it is maximum, the voltage is maximum when it is having an open circuit point. Therefore I can take this point as a POC point. Okay, so from this waveform what can observe? The distance between PSC and POC is lambda by 4. Okay, the distance between PSC and POC is lambda by 4. Okay, therefore this is going to give half circle value for one complete circle. For one complete circle, I can take it as lambda by 2. Lambda by 2 is equal to 360 degrees because it is one complete circle. Therefore, I can take 1 lambda is equal to 720 degrees. So, in some cases, should convert the distance in terms of degrees. In that case, I can use this value. 1 lambda is equal to 720 degrees. This is the second point should be noted. First point is location of PSC and POC, and second point is 1 lambda is equal to 720 degrees. And next point, lambda is equal to 720 degrees. And next point, moving on transmission line is same as that of moving on constant VSWR circle. This is the load impedance. This comes under source side, and this comes under load side. Okay, and Z dot is the characteristic impedance of the line. Okay, so here the next point is from this point take it as some A, take it as some B, and take it as some C. Let us assume, for example, if I'm moving from point A to point B, at this point, what is my input impedance? Because we know that if we move on the transmission line, the input impedance varies. So looking from this side, the load with this line is treated as input impedance. If you move from here to here, looking from this side, the load with the line act like input impedance. That means as the length of the line varies, the input impedance varies. Okay, so how to find out the input impedance at any point on the line? So for that, we have to follow some procedure. So this is a Smith chart. So outer one is pure imaginary. That means what? That means it contains only reactive inductance. If a point is there here means I can take it as minus J X C. On the outer circle, it contains only purely inductive reactance, some reactance. If this point is bottom hemisphere, it contains only pure capacitive reactance. If a point is here, this contains purely inductive reactance. And this is called real axis. So here it contains only purely resistive loads. So this is only purely resistive loads, normalized resistance. So at any point on this line, it contains only real values. At any point on the circle, it contains only imaginary values. That is the point. So this is a POC point, and this is the PSC point. So this is our Smith chart. Okay, what is our objective? Our objective is to find out the impedance at any point on the line. Okay, So first step, what have to do? We have to find out the normalized load impedance. ZL bar is called as normalized load impedance. So dividing the impedance with characteristic impedance gives the normalized value. Okay. Generally, while drawing the Smith chart, you have to find out the first point is find out the normalized load impedance and plot this point on Smith chart. So since it is complex load, so it contains some R1 plus some JX1 that I am assuming. Okay, it may be anything. It may be R1 minus JX1, anything. Based upon the value of load impedance, this point lies either here or here. So any point here is what? Any point here is purely resistance plus inductive reactance. Any point here in this half hemisphere is R minus Jx. Okay. Now, what is the step we have to follow? First step is we have to plot the normalized load impedance. So this is called ZL bar. Let I am assuming that point is here. Okay. So that nothing but what is this circle? This is a R1 circle. Similarly, you have to take a X1 circle. This is X1 circle. Okay. How to get impedance means intersection of R1 circle and X1 circle is going to give the impedance ZL bar, normalized impedance ZL bar. Okay. For any problem, this is the first step, plotting the normalized load impedance on the Smith chart and named as some point A. Okay, so this is the point A. So at this point, the impedance is nothing but your ZL bar. So my objective is to find out what is the input impedance at a distance of some lambda by something 6 I can take. I can take any value, no problem. So simply to find out, I am taking this value. So my objective is to find out what is the impedance at a B point, normalized impedance at a B point. Okay. So the point to remember here is moving on line is same as that of moving on the constant VSWR circle. So for that, I am drawing here one constant VSWR circle. So take it as this is as O. How to draw constant VSWR circle means after plotting the normalized load impedance with the OA as radius, draw a circle. With OA as radius, draw a circle. That circle is called as constant VSWR circle. So this is the constant VSWR circle. Okay. So moving on the line is same as that of moving on a constant VSWR circle. Okay. Now there are two cases are there. So either I can move from source to load or I can move from load to source. So two cases may possible. If I want to find out the I know this B point impedance. If I want to know the impedance at A point means I have to move from source to load. Here in this case I know the load impedance, but I want to find out the input impedance. So in that case you have to go for load to source. Okay. So when I am moving from load to source, I should move in clockwise direction on constant VSWR circle. Okay. If I am moving from source to load, in this case I should move in anti-clockwise direction. on the constant VSWR circle. This you have to remember. Okay, because if you did any mistake in this point means you may get wrong answers. So for that reason you should remember this point, whether I am moving from load to source or from source to load. So in this case we are moving from load to the source because we want to find out the input impedance at source side kabatti. Okay, so here we have to move in clockwise direction on the constant VSWR circle for a distance of lambda by 6. Okay, so what is lambda value? 1 lambda is equal to 720. So lambda by 6 means 720 by 6. What's the value? So this is how much? It is 120. So from the load point we should travel a distance of 120 degrees to reach the B point. Okay, so here this is now we should take this as a reference line. Okay, now we should take this as a reference line, GOA as a reference line. So from this use a protractor and plot 120 degrees. Let I am taking this as 60 and one more 60 means up to here. So I am taking this as 120 degrees. Okay, now move on this point DA on this constant VSWR circle until it reaches 120 degrees. Okay, therefore this point is called as a B point. Okay, so at this B point I can see some X circle is passing and some R circle is passing. Note down those values. So at B point I can see some R2 circle and minus J some X2 circle. Why I am taking here minus means because it contains capacitor reactance, already we seen, right? Therefore it is R2 minus JX2. So at this point what is the impedance? I can take it as Z in bar at lambda is equal to 6 is equal to R2 minus JX2. So why I am taking here bar means because whatever the points we are getting on the Smith chart all are normalized values. Then therefore you should write here as bar. Bar indicates it is a normalized value. Okay, therefore the input impedance at this B point is that much value. Okay, now how to find absolute value? Zn is equal to Zn bar into Z0 is going to give the absolute impedance at B point. So this is the third point. First point is superimposition of R and X circuit gives Smith chart and it contains some OC point and short circuit point that represent them, and 1 lambda is equal to 720 degrees. Moving on line is same as that of moving on constant VSWR circle. So how to get the constant VSWR circle? First plot the normalized load impedance on Smith chart and name it as point A with OA as radius. Draw a circle that is going to give the constant VSWR circle. So from point A travel distance of lambda by 6. How to find lambda by 6 means 1 lambda means 720. So by 6 gives 120 degrees. So from point A move in clockwise direction from this information. Move in clockwise direction on this constant VSWR circle at distance of 120 degrees. That gives B point. At B point identified the R circle and X circle. Now have to keep minus here because the bottom hemisphere is capacitive reactance. Okay, therefore this is going to give the normalized input impedance at lambda by 6. To find absolute value, normalized value into Z0 gives the absolute value. Okay, this is the procedure to find out the input impedance at some distance. Okay, and next one is okay. So with this information, I would like to explain some of the concepts, that is applications of transmission lines. So here we'll discuss 3 applications. One is quarter wave transformer technique. And second one is single stub matching technique. And third one is double stub matching technique. So all are the applications of finding impedance matching. So impedance matching is very much required in the transmission lines to avoid losses. To avoid reflection losses, we have to do impedance matching for the transmission lines. So there are 3 methods are available. So it is having some drawbacks, that is overcome in single step matching. It is also having some drawbacks that are overcome in double step matching technique. Now we will see one by one. So first we will discuss about quarter wave transformer technique. So the name itself indicates quarter wave, that means lambda by 4. So for impedance matching purpose, I am using a transmission line of length lambda by 4. Okay, so here this is one transmission line with the characteristic impedance Z0 of some length. Okay, so this is the load impedance I can take. So what is the formula of reflection coefficient? Gamma L is equal to ZL minus Z0 by ZL plus Z0. So this is the formula of reflection coefficient. Okay, if ZL is not equal to Z0, then gamma L does not equal to 0. It has some value that indicates there is some reflection present. So fraction of the wave will be reflected back to the source side. According to the maximum of power transfer theorem, okay, if the load impedance is equal to input impedance, then the maximum power is transmitted from source to load. That is what I am expecting. Okay, but if any impedance mismatch takes place, fraction of the wave will be reflected back to the source side. That is not required for us. So by using some technique, we have to do impedance matching between the source to the load. Okay, therefore here because ZL is not equal to Z0, some wave will be reflected back. To avoid that, we have to use some device or some technique to do impedance matching. Okay. Now here we see, with the help of a quarter wave transformer, we have to do impedance matching. Okay. So this is my transmission line, and here I have to take one more transmission line of length lambda by 4. So this is called as quarter wave transformer Why the name quarter wave transformer? One of the application of transformer is impedance matching. Here with the help of this transition line of length lambda by 4, we are doing impedance matching. Hence the name quarter wave transformer technique. So here I can explain two cases. Case 1 is if load is real, that means it contains only resistive load. Case 2 is if it is impedance, that means it contains some resistance and reactance. So in both the cases we have to analyze this quarter wave transformer technique. Okay, so it is not a box. I have taken it as a box, but it is a transition line. It is also a transition line. So if you take this, it looks like this. So this is also a transition line. This is also a transition line of length lambda by 4. So this is your transition line with the characteristic impedance ZOX. This is also a transition line, but of characteristic impedance Z0. So this is having